for a convict or a person seeking to file a petition of the power of mercy on behalf of a convict, what's the process? Where do we start?
Oh, okay. Now, our offices are on Kencom House, second floor. What somebody would do is probably just drop it there or write to the secretary, but it has to be addressed to His Excellency the President because he is the one who exercises the pardon. And then, yeah, we're okay. Once we receive it, we start going. What we do, we'll ask for your prison file, your reports. We will have petition hearings at the boardroom. Once we find that you're ready for interview, some people don't need interview. Once we find that there's consistency and we are convinced that you're okay, we may just recommend you on your file, especially if we have looked at the court proceedings, so we have understood the nature and circumstances of your offense. We've looked at your probation report, we've looked at rehabilitation report, the prison report. If you're saying you're sick, we have seen the doctor's report. Actually, on the committee, I forgot to tell you, we have a doctor, a qualified doctor. So that at the interview, they're the ones who are able to tell the rest of the members that I think I've looked at these medical documents and this is a genuine case. Yeah. Okay. So I think you just need to drop it at Kencom House, second floor, room 58. Yeah.
Well, as the POMAC, as the advisory committee, you also have the mandate of educating and informing people on this provision of the Constitution. And when you talk about convicts also availing their prison report and whatnot, then that also means that there needs to be cooperation with different prisons across the country.
Sure.
Have you received that cooperation, or have you received challenges with regard to those prisons?
No. We have an extremely excellent relationship with our key stakeholders. That's the prison department and all the departments under correctional services. Like I said, the Minister for Correctional Services is one of our members. Yeah, so we are able even to make it work very well. Then the other thing, the pardon officers are prison officers. So when we want to visit a prison, and it's good you're talking about the prisons are actually spread across the country, you know, but out of 105 prisons, the committee has visited over 70. We've been to Lodwar, we've been to Lamu, it's called Hindi, we've been, I think, you know, like Coast, we've done most of the prisons. In Rift Valley, we've done all the prisons. In Nyanza, we just have a couple, I think, that we haven't done. But there's no, you know, our intention is to be able to visit all of them. So when we want to visit the prisons, maybe for interview or for sensitization, educating the convicts, sometimes the convicts don't even know that, you know, how do they apply? What's the process? How do we go about it?
Because when you say
what does it mean?
Need to send a letter to Kencom House, and someone is in, you know, machinery, then how do they do that?
So we go to the prisons, not only for the interviews, but also to sensitize. We have a lot of education forums in prisons. In fact, most of 3/4 of that has been sensitization. Yeah. So when we want to visit the prisons, we just give a signal to the Commissioner of Prisons. Most of the time, the note, he alerts them. Then when we go, we are able to whatever. But like I said, we work very closely with other key stakeholders, the church, some NGOs, the county government leadership,
so they all
security system. Yeah. So yeah, but it's massive. Like I said, we are part-time, but we are really just. Sometimes we stay in the office up to 4 a.m. You know, trying to figure out because. The work is also too much, but we have intention to be able to run with the education forums, and this is one of them. We want to partner very closely with the media. We want to be able to have barazas at the county levels, you know, where we just have the chief and maybe the commissioner, and we just address wider, you know, people, and we are just telling them, okay, this is Power of Mercy, we are here, we do this. This is what happens, and this is how you go about it. Yeah, but slowly but sure.
Right, well, there is a lot of overcrowding in Kenyan prisons now, and we were talking earlier about what I'd call petty offenders, or people who've served 7 years or below, you say they should not be in prisons. They should be in other correctional facilities. Do you then think that the committee, the Power of Advisory Committee, then should have its capacity increased so we can have more of these petitions then processed even faster? Because you have tens of thousands coming in.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
Yes and no. Because the committee's work is very easy, especially if you're talking about the long-term serving convicts. And really those should be our concern. Because if you're there for just a couple of days, even if we come and tell you there's power of mercy, you're like, missing next week, I'm going. You don't know. And like I said, they also haven't rehabilitated very well. So I'm saying no, because when we go to the correctional facilities, the prisons, our experience is that 3/4 of that space is taken up by remandees. You know, remandees are people, basically first they're innocent, but because they can raise very high bond terms, or because their cases are dragging on forever, they're just there. And you know, they're charged with felonies, maybe which are not bailable. Now, then you have now the petty offenders I'm telling you about. You know, you find women with small babies in prison. Like the latest one, I think a month ago, we went to Naivasha prison. We were doing sensitization. So this lady, and she has a small baby, 1 day. Yeah. Wow. And she was saying she was not feeling well, and then she's applying for mercy. And I'm thinking, by the time we get to Nairobi now, how will we have helped her? It's illicit brew, and she has been given a fine over 115. You know? So I just got my members and we fundraised for her, and it was a Friday. So we told the in charge that they should pay the fine on Monday so that she can get out. But when we got to Nairobi on Monday, we were told she had passed on.
Oh no.
You see? Yeah? So that's what we are saying. You have people who are in prison and they shouldn't be there. Honestly speaking, the prison, the judiciary has a variety of non-custodial sentences. They are massive. Suspended sentence, probation, CSO, conditional discharge, and conditional discharge, a fine that is reasonable. Sometimes you can even warn somebody and just tell them, you know, I've discharged you on this condition, don't go and do this thing again. So you find people urinating in public places. They are there for 3, and then the courts are not consistent. When you go to Western, somebody who was urinating in a public place is serving maybe 5 years. I'm just giving an example. When you go elsewhere, they're serving 3 months. So I'm saying no, because if judiciary, sorry I'm saying this public forum, but I think if the judiciary system ran very well, and they give bonds that probably are reasonable, and the trial system moves faster, and then they sieve these petty offenders from the real ones who need to be locked up, because it also doesn't help them. They go there and become even more hardcore. And in even they become repeat offenders. They just keep going back because the sentences are also short. So 1 month I'll just go and do it. So then you'll now find that there are fewer petitions and there are fewer convicts. Because when you look at the petitions we get from long-term serving, they are very few. They're basically 200, 300. Bulk, short-term.
Why
serving.
is that?
Because for me, I think that for me the clog could be in judicial system. For me, there's something that needs to be done so that we don't put people who don't need to be in prison there. But otherwise, I'm saying yes, it's manageable, because the long-termers are very few, and those ones we can do very easily. The thing is, if you look at our legal framework, the Act, we set our own procedure. So we meet as often as there are petitions for us to do. Nobody really interferes with the way we work. So we're able to do our work. We can even go overdrive. But the other thing probably I could just say for the future committee, a consideration that probably the government can look into, is make some members permanent. Some, not all of them. Probably they can make the future committee, they can make the vice chair and 1 or 2 other members to be permanent, so that then maybe the work is easier and moves faster, or the whole committee to be permanent. Right. But I think
speaking of the tenure of the committee, how long does the one tenure last?
It's 5 years and it's non-renewable. Also for a good cause, because I think when you create familiarity with the prisoners, you can also start having ideas.
Yeah, be biased also.
Yeah, you can also be biased. Yeah. So it's
very briefly as we wind up, I also understand that the committee has been fighting a lot to ban the death row sentence. How far are you with that?
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. That one is very topical. When we launched our strategic plan last year, the Attorney General, who is our chairman, actually gave us directions that we should start the public debate on death penalty. Yeah. What has been happening is that in Kenya we have the debate, but it's quiet and it's hushed. And then you have some people arguing that the law is not very consistent. Some people say, okay, it's provided here, but the constitution is outlying. So there's a lot of cloudiness and muddiness around it. So what we've done, we've already done the concept paper. We have already started engaging the key stakeholders. We've talked to the DPP, we've talked to judiciary, we've talked to, prisons, just to set the mood so that we are rallying the nation towards this public debate on death penalty. But we also done 2 African benchmarking trips to Rwanda and South Africa. These ones, we wanted just to understand how did they come about, how do they come about where they are now, where they abolished the death penalty. But the thing is, the assignment that the committee has, we are neutral. We don't have any sides. We do not support. Actually, if you're a member and you have your own views, those are yours. But for us, even as we carry out this assignment, we will just be collecting views. It will be like a national conference. We'll get the views for the death penalty, those against the death penalty, those neutral views, and then we'll be able just to advise the government on the issue of capital offenses and their sentences and what Kenyans will be saying. But we've already started the process. Anytime actually we have a date for the launch, it's going to be in April.
All right, that's a good, formidable step there.
Thank
you very much for joining us in studio today. Regina Boysabe, the Vice Chair of the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee. The Power of Mercy is a prerogative conferred upon the President that allows him to grant pardon or at least give a less severe punishment to convicts who are serving long-term sentences in prison. Thank you very much for staying with us on the Weekend Express. My name is Michelle Ngele. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.